We used to be like distant cousins, fighting, playing dozens, whole neighborhood buzzing, knowing that we wasn't deep. I ain't mad at you. Ooh, it's a hydration situation where the locker room comes to life and the X's and O's meets the I's and U's. I know y'all want to show love because I love you too. Well, like and subscribe to this channel. Make sure you become a giver every month. Yes, a part of our gym program. Log on to projecttransition.org and help us educate and empower those itty bitties out there because you're going to love this topic today. We're going to get into the hypocrisy from the NFL, from the fan base, from the media, in the difference of treatment of Colin Kaepernick versus Nick Bosa, which of course has spread an epidemic level of whataboutism. Yep. And now the feds have got involved. Yes, you know those false equivalency dudes. They out there trying to make this that and make that this. What did Young Jeezy say? That ain't this and this ain't that. But we got Kaepernick, you got Bosa. And Kaepernick's stance was political, but socio-political, right? He was talking about the treatment of people and trying to get some political legislation, some changes that way. Whereas a MAGA hat is an endorsement, pseudo-endorsement, if you want to be loose with it, but it's an endorsement for Donald Trump, MAGA, etc. Make America great again. Kaepernick over there went unnoticed, too seen to finally doing his protest the entire season, which obviously snowballs into things and takes it in different directions. Where Nick Bosa, maybe he got 3 seconds, certainly not longer than his 40 time, in and out, and then wanted to extinguish the fire he just set. Different. I'm just talking strictly facts, strictly facts. One was in support of the people, and one was in support of a person in Donald Trump. You get the difference. And all of this from Kaepernick led him to say politically in statement and stance, oh, I'm not voting. I'm just letting y'all know what I want to happen, to change for the people. Whereas Nick Bosa is like, oh, yeah, I'm voting. I'm not going to show you my ballot, but look at my hat. You know, big difference. So huge differences in these two things, two people, but a lot of whataboutism, right? So we got two dudes. The only thing they really have in common, they both play for the same franchise. They both play for the 49ers, and they both did something or some things that people on the other side weren't so pleased with. Please tell me what's wrong with people. Do y'all not know what Confucius said about us? What did he say? He said, life is really simple, but we insist on making it complicated. Yes, we are. So let's not waste any time and get into this right now.
Well, fellas, I mean, it's that time of year. Obviously, the election is approaching. Nick Bosa, after their win over the Dallas Cowboys, interrupts Brock Purdy's interview with a MAGA hat on. Let's keep politics out of sports, and you know how they say, shut up and dribble. What are your thoughts on what he did and then saying later that he didn't want to talk about it?
Everybody say keep it out of sports, but Jerry said some crazy stuff. You know what I'm saying? Honestly, I think he has a complexion for the protection. Wasn't Kaepernick's political? Kaepernick still talking about he working out. You can't tell me Kaepernick ain't better right now than some of these damn quarterbacks taking the field in the NFL right now. Keep the politics out of sports unless you look a certain way. And then you can say whatever you want and it's cute and they laugh it off. But that's what it is. You can't do it now because with the social media and the people retweeting and reposting and texting, you can see what side people are on at all times. You know what side people are on. But I just don't think he'll get criticized because of the fact that he's a clean-cut American white boy. And it was just a hat. That's what I say with them. But if he was a big old black dude from the hood, they would make it a bigger deal than it is. I really believe that way. He's a NFL family, his daddy, his brother, and all that stuff. I think Nick has a complexion for the protection.
I think a lot of it comes back to, you said protection for the complexion. A lot of favoritism comes into play. If it had been, someone like one of us, it would have been all over the media. The fact that we were fined for the hat, because it's a finable offense for the people that don't know that. It shouldn't have been anywhere near the field. So it was just a prop that they hit on the sideline he was able to get to sort of make an ass of himself. Again, we should leave our political views out of sports. If that's what the rules are, that's what the rules are. But you have guys like Nick Bosa who did it right around the time when Kaepernick was trying to make a stance for what was right. You know, he was one of those people who sort of went the other direction and ended up apologizing about it. So you are who you are, and at these times, all of that tends to come to light. A lot of people in this time of the year tend to reveal them true selves. Even the comments that the guys made during Trump's rally, you know, about Puerto Rico and all this other stuff. But I hate that it has to be that way for people to feel that way and just to act beyond themselves. But again, I think it's a true showing of who they really are at the end of the day.
Yeah, I think when Nick Bosa shows up in a MAGA hat during Brock Purdy's interview, he knows exactly what he's doing. Never before has sort of partisanship had divided the country in the way that it has. Since 2016, that's been what it is. And when you say make America great again, what was so great about it before? What part of America are you trying to get to? Based on what we're hearing coming out of many of these campaign rallies, there's only one side that truly degrades and speaks negatively of the differences in other people, where they're from, the colors of their skin. There's only one side that does that. And I've worked really hard since 2016 to try to separate the people that support Republicans from the Make America Great Again people, because it was hard for me to believe that you weren't racist. Right? And there's a long following of Nick Bosa's tweets where it's a lot of pushback against the culture, which is weird because in the locker room, it's such a melting pot of people where you accept one another's differences. I also think it's sort of ironic. This happens in San Francisco where Colin Kaepernick legitimately lost his career, not because he said America is a bad place, because he said, I want to make America a better place for people like us. Not because he said that he wants brown and black people to be superior to others, but just equal. He wanted their lives and our lives to matter as much as everyone else's life. The MAGA movement has been very clear that all lives don't matter the same, that all people aren't sort of deserving of the same treatment, of the same compassion, of the same level of life and liberty. And so I do think that the shut up and dribble thing that always is told to the LeBron Jameses when he speaks up against police brutality, to Colin Kaepernick when he speaks up against police brutality, to all of these athletes who were involved in movements in 2020, it only seems to go to the athletes that look like us, to the people that are speaking for the marginalized and the minorities as opposed to the majorities. Because when 45 called Colin Kaepernick and other people who kneeled sons of bitches, nobody told him to keep politics out of sports. So it seems very clear to me. Nick Bosa understands that when you wear that hat, you take a side. You take a side of division in a sport that's supposed to bring us together. I'm just waiting for all the people who comment under political and sports things to shut up and dribble or to shut up and play football to tell him to shut up and rush. But they ain't gonna say it because they feel the exact same way he do.
Don't hold your breath.
All right. He said, don't hold your breath. I'm going to try. All right. So, the reason I played that video and try not to interrupt them because I wanted them to get that off their chest. And what they got off their chest, I think some of the highlights were the fact that Channing was saying, you won't criticize Nick Bosa because he's a white guy. Fred Taylor said by wearing the MAGA hat, he made a donkey out of himself and interrupted the interview, I'm assuming. And Ryan said only one side that talks bad against the other side. So MAGA is the only side that's talking bad against the other side. I'm going to let those questions just simmer because I know you guys know the answers to those things. But instead of me just saying it, I want to show you guys. So there's a timeline that we can follow from Colin Kaepernick and his protests and now Nick Bosa, even though I don't know if you want to really call that a timeline because it all happened in one day. Now, there's a history of Nick Bosa online, etc., but that's not for this video because that's not what they were talking about. They were talking about his interruption of the Brock Purdy interview and him flashing the MAGA hat. And then post-game, him not saying much about it. Let's go. Okay, so let's go back to Colin Kaepernick because You know, revisionist history occurs, and I'm guilty as everyone else. I got to use all that I can in terms of measurements and metrics and resources to try and nail down what was happening at that time, because things feel a lot different now. So I want to go back to one of the first interviews about Colin Kaepernick and his protests. Trust me, you're going to want to walk with me on this one. Let's go.
Out of that protest by Colin Kaepernick, 49ers quarterback knelt instead of standing during the national anthem at last night's game. He was not alone. ABC's Kana Whitworth was there and joins us now from San Diego. Good morning, Kana.
Yeah, George, good morning. One of Colin Kaepernick's teammates joined him in taking a knee, and a Seattle Seahawks player also didn't stand for their national anthem. But this morning, Kaepernick says he's willing to make real change and plans on donating $1 million to charities that he's been working with to help end racial inequality.
For the land and of the free.
Overnight, San Francisco 49ers quarterback Colin Kaepernick refusing to stand during the national anthem again. This time, he took a knee right behind hundreds of service members being honored on Military Appreciation Night. As the crowd and players stand, you can see Kaepernick kneeling on the sideline. Teammate Eric Reed joining him.
Going to stand.
And he's receiving heavy boos here.
The crowd booing every time he took a snap.
He's entitled to his opinion. We fought for that. I just think he's a jerk.
And now the quarterback sparking new controversy for wearing these socks showing police officers as pigs. Those scandalous socks drawing criticism from law enforcement officials across the country. Police in Vermont tweeting, wealthy, privileged person's free speech dehumanizes an entire group of human beings. Sound familiar, Kaepernick?
The socks that were worn, did those not seem negative?
No, that was, once again, we have cops that are murdering people. We have cops in the SFPD that are blatantly racist. And those issues need to be addressed.
Players from other teams like Jeremy Lane from Seattle are joining Kaepernick in his seated stand, begging the question, how far will this go?
At this point, I think it will continue to be taking a knee. As far as how long this goes, I'm not sure.
I asked Kaepernick if he plans on taking up the San Francisco Police Association on their invite to visit the academy, and he says yes, adding that he's concerned about racism within the department, saying that some bad cops are giving all cops a bad name. Amy.
All right, Kana, thank you.
All right, Kana, thank you. Okay, now we're getting some more context here. As you see, the softball that they were throwing towards the coverage of this started to turn into a fastball, right? You can see it. Now, the reason I wanted to show you that interview is because look at the date. Let's go here. September 2nd, 2016. Don't forget that. I said September 2nd, 2016, as I write it down. So, revisionist history, right? I mean, everything always feels better to you and worse to you because it's you, right? Let's go deep. Let's go there. Oh, let's hear President break this thing down. Really? President?
While overseas in Hangzhou, China, President Obama weighed in on the controversy as well.
He's exercising his constitutional right to make a statement. I think there's a long history of sports figures doing so. I think there are a lot of ways you can do it. As a general matter, when it comes to the flag and the national anthem and the meaning that that holds for our men and women in uniform and those who fought for us, that is a tough thing for them to get past, to then hear what his deeper concerns are. But I don't doubt his sincerity based on what I've heard. I think he cares about some real, legitimate issues that have to be talked about. If nothing else, what he's done is he's generated more conversation around some topics that need to be talked about.
All right. Yes, he has. Okay. Woo! Y'all like, where are we going? We showing you guys the difference between how, and once again, I got to show you guys the date of that because September 2nd jumps out, right? That was the first one. And now we have September 5th. September 2nd, September 5th, okay? We good? Now watch this.
Opportunity to make what would appear to be a political statement.
I'm not going to talk too much about it, but I think it's an important time.
That's it. You saw at the bottom him flash in with the MAGA hat. Not the bravest, because it's not the red one, not the red MAGA hat. Not the bravest because he ran in, ran out. Not the bravest, some would say, because he didn't even expound on it. But that was it from Nick Bosa. We got to take the man at what he gave us. And we got what Colin Kaepernick so far gave us, which was a silent protest. So now I want to give you a high-arching summary of these two different protests. Let's read through this. Colin Kaepernick and Nick Bosa approached their expressions of political beliefs quite differently, reflecting their unique stances and contexts. Y'all, please stop reading my emails. Y'all stupid. Kaepernick's protest. Kaepernick knelt during the national anthem in 2016 to protest racial injustice and police brutality. Clarified that his protest was a peaceful way to raise awareness about system inequality, drawing widespread debate and criticism, especially from those who viewed it as unpatriotic. He had to clarify because it was taken, right? It was hijacked. Bosa's MAGA support, in contrast, Nick Bosa publicly supported Donald Trump by wearing a MAGA hat and expressing his views on social media. When asked, he generally downplayed his political stance, focusing on football and attempting to avoid significant controversy. Even though he started controversy. There are responses highlight contrasting ways athletes navigate public and political statements. I don't care what side you're on with that one. I think you can understand the difference of approach, right? True or false? True. Okay. Now, here's what's going to bring it all together for you. As we saw Nick Bosa go out there, and when I say it was just 5 days ago, on the 27th of October, 2024. Let's go through Colin Kaepernick. You saw that coverage of Colin Kaepernick? You saw that, like, revealing and, oh, is this protest going to continue? What's this protest about, etc.? Let's go back. August 14th, 2016, Kaepernick first sits on the bench during the national anthem at a preseason game, though this initially goes unnoticed. Talking about silent protest. Nobody even noticed it. Forget silent. Silent is I can see you not saying something. I ain't even see you. August 26th, almost 2 weeks later, y'all, his protest is noticed, and he explains it's a stance against racial injustice and police brutality. Remember the interviews I showed you, September 2nd, September 5th from the president. Still, support, diplomatic. Some people were saying, not liking this during the anthem, but let's keep going with the timeline. August 28th, 2 weeks later, Kaepernick meets with former Green Beret Nate Boyer, remember that, who suggests kneeling as a more respectful gesture. Kaepernick switches from sitting to kneeling during the anthem. Cordial conversation full of respect that turned his unnoticed protest, not silent, unnoticed, to silent to, okay, people are taking notice 2 weeks later. You're still doing it. Can you just switch it up to show respect during the anthem? He did. September 1st, we still haven't got to these interviews that are still softball, right? The interviews were Obama. You saw the interviews and coverage of Kaepernick. Hey, what's up with the pig socks? Whatever. Kaepernick kneels publicly during a national televised game, sparking widespread media coverage and debate. Now you got this. And we know 2017 onward, the protest spreads among athletes and becomes a larger movement while Kaepernick faces backlash, eventually leading to his exit from the NFL, blackball, whatever you want to call it. Okay. Reason I'm walking through all of this before I give you all of my feelings on it is because I want to give us some foundation. I don't care how long it takes. If you ain't rocking all the way through it, you don't want to roll all the way to it. A lot of people say, hey, man, this country racist, police brutality, there's racists in the police department, etc. Yes. And I just want to overarch all of this as we're in a political climate, like Ryan Clark said, by right now, as we look, if you want to trust 538, which is the most trusted in terms of national polling, who's ahead in national polls? Let's go back. July 24th this year. Harris, Trump. Let's go August, Harris. Who? September, Wyden. September, Harris. Has Harris ever trailed? Nope. To this day. Harris. Okay, let's keep going. It's all Harris. Still with the lead, 1.4. Okay. I think that demonstrates right there the end national polling. Who knows how it's going to finish? Who knows how it's going to go? Y'all know my position on that. Vote for who you want to vote for. I don't have more votes than you. You don't have more votes than me. Let's move on and be respectful, even in our disagreement. Oh, look at this.
Hi, Daddy.
You look amazing. Happy Halloween.
Happy Halloween.
Okay, give me a kiss. I'll be upstairs in 5 seconds.
I'm hungry.
Okay, I'll give you some toast soon. Gotta see who's gonna win this election.
I'm making a crispy.
Okay, appreciate you. You close the door, please.
You gotta make it burn.
Only 5. Lord. Okay. In a country that has ills like all countries, all places, they certainly get highlighted here. And in a country that is so racist, right now, the national polling is having the black woman, don't y'all start, the black woman leading over Donald Trump. Okay. There were 3 questions posed. They won't criticize him because he's a white guy. That was Fred Taylor. They will criticize you even if you're a white guy. The coverage of Nick Bosa has not all been flattering. You don't believe me? Check the internet. What Nick Bosa did that Colin Kaepernick didn't was get in and get out. Now, you could call that cowardice. You could call that, oh, man, you ain't standing 10 toes down, whatever you want to say. But you want more coverage? Do more things. Get more attention from you doing more of the controversial things. It shouldn't have been controversial. Well, it shouldn't be controversial either to wear a MAGA hat. It shouldn't be controversial to be unnoticed in protest. It shouldn't be controversial to have a silent protest. It shouldn't be controversial for you to have your protest actually known, noticed, and you address why you're doing it. But weeks later, when it takes a pivot, pun intended, to the police brutality, the pig socks, Castro shirt, etc., you can't compare that to Nick Bosa anymore. I don't know who would. I don't know who's trying to, other than it seems like the pivot. And I got a big dose of respect for those guys over there. So I just want to point out, when we say hypocrisy, we got to compare apples to apples. Not even apples to oranges. This is not even apples to oranges. This is apples to apple seeds. Nick Bosa grabbed a couple seeds and threw them. You don't water those, you don't fertilize those, you don't plant those, and nothing growing from it for real. Just some seeds. Colin Kaepernick planted his. They festered, they blossomed into, I'm supporting you, I'm critical of you. You don't make an A out of yourself. You don't make a donkey out of yourself by wearing a hat. You shouldn't be. Think about where we are as a people, as a country, as a culture, as a climate, if that is. Because it goes to Ryan's point. Only one side talks bad and is against the other side. Well, if you can't wear a MAGA hat and not be called an ass, then doesn't that show that both sides do that? Y'all got to walk with me here. I don't care who it is, what it is, and I love me some Freddie Taylor, Freddie Tangy. That's my guy. But I will talk the truth, even against myself. So let's go there on myself. Y'all know I wasn't supporting Colin Kaepernick. And I'm going to tell y'all why, if I haven't told you already, just because we're on it right now. I have a big, firm belief that none of us should speak for all of us. None of us. Because I think it implies that what I'm dealing with is what you're dealing with. And in my experiences, 49, almost 50 years, that's not the same. My conditions are not yours. My circumstances are not yours. Come on. Do I have to break it down? I didn't do what you did in life, and you haven't done what I did in life. So why are you lumping me with you? Oh, you had to deal with racists? I am sorry you had to. You had to deal with racism? I am sorry you had to. Oh, do you care to ask me? I have not. I'm not a sellout. I'm not weak. I'm not a punk. I'm not none of those things. I just haven't had to deal with that. But you also haven't had to deal with what I had to deal with. Okay? Did those bullets almost hit you? No? Yes? If it did, okay, we got something in common. But none of us should speak for all of us because it implies that what I'm dealing with is what you're dealing with. That may be true, but that's not certainly true. It also lumps who you're talking for. We all the same, right? We all dealt with the same stuff. And who you're talking against, y'all all the same. And you know what disservice that does to both sides? My experience is not Colin Kaepernick's. Colin Kaepernick's was not mine, but he was speaking to some things that obviously I had to deal with as well. Some things. So when you say there's racist cops in SFPD, etc., you wear the pig socks. They're racist truck drivers. They're racist football players. There's racist anything. But the entity, the group, is not necessarily inherently racist. The individuals are. So why are we trying to lump that? Why are we trying to lump that group? You know, a cop came to me last night. This is crazy. I was at the Clippers game. Cop came to me last night and said, man, I deeply, it was a black cop too, since y'all want to go here. A black cop said, I deeply respect you, man. Like, he stopped me. I thought I was in trouble. deeply respect you. I said, yeah, thank you, man. And he's like, no, I'm a huge fan. I said, oh, yeah? He said, yeah, because you say it like it is. Black cop. Who has to work with a cloud of suspicion and lower morale because been deemed as racist, just as one of the examples. These groups that we're trying to label are being mislabeled because we're lazy or scared to really call out the individuals. Or we can't. We don't take the time, or we just don't know. But the point is, you're not saying anything profound by saying some people in a group are racist. We know that. Everybody knows that. So why call the group that? Was my big issue. Call them out, not call it out. Call the individual out. Don't call it out. So I look at it like this. I can't compare Nick Bosa to Colin Kaepernick because Colin Kaepernick wanted the awareness. He wanted his protest to be heard. Now, once you want to be seen, we see you. As my grandma famously said, and is famous right now, don't call for attention and hang up. Nick Bosa did. He's crank call. Boom. Okay. Colin Kaepernick did and stayed on the phone. And we had a chance to talk with him. We had a chance to talk to him. We had a chance to hear him out. We had a chance to see him go different directions. And we all know the missteps of Colin Kaepernick's protests, which really caused most of the controversy. If you really want to go there, the controversy wasn't over police inequality, racial inequality, police brutality. You could have stuck to those lanes narrowly and been fine, I would say. It was kneeling during the protest or sitting during the protest, be real. It was the pig socks, it was the Castro shirt. That's when you had groups going against Colin Kaepernick. That's when you had even black people like me, like, come on, dog. Like, my uncle's a cop. And he black, and he normal, and he ain't racist, and he ain't nothing. He's just a cop. And I'm like, he got to get labeled like, bruh. Nick Bosa, you wearing a MAGA hat? That means you vote for Donald Trump? You support all of that? Okay. You want to know why he doesn't have the same level of criticism? He ain't stay on the phone long enough. Oh, trust me, we would have beat that up too, especially if he would have made the things that people thought were controversial and missteps. other than being a donkey for just wearing the hat. I don't think we should take sides. I disagree with Ryan. I disagree with holding my breath and taking sides. I don't think you should take sides. I think you should see all the sides and be multifaceted. That's the way I'm looking at this situation. It's crazy we live in a country right now where we're going to compare apples to apple seeds. Fully blossomed protests that took multi-years versus one guy who just did something one night. But that's where we are. That's how divided we are. Let's hold our breath to hope that we can bring this thing together and see things as they are, clearly. Profound. All right. Make sure you guys log on to projecttransition.org. Help us support these itty-bitties out there. Y'all know they need your love. Y'all know that. Just go to projecttransition.org. This ain't the topic to be showing y'all all these donations, right? Y'all still stupid. Go get love and go, wow. What's up, y'all? It's Marcellus Wiley, founder of Project Transition and proud gym member. I'm excited to share with you an opportunity that will support our kids on their mission to making their dreams a reality. At Project Transition, we believe that real change comes from consistent action and support. That's why we invite you to join our powerful gym membership program that is making a difference every single day. As a gym partner, by giving every month, you'll fuel our mission by providing monthly support that turns into real empowerment and education for underserved youth. Your commitment reduces school dropouts, nurtures communities, and funds impactful programs like the Rising Stars Academy that we share. Together, we can turn potential into prosperity. Join the group of community champions driving change. Your contributions will help aid success by providing essential educational resources, building critical life skills, and fostering community strength. There's no better feeling than knowing your support will ignite hope, foster dreams, and empower the next generation. Join us today and be a part of transformative change. Help our youth become greater than their greatest excuse. Become a gym partner. Thank you.